Good evening and welcome to the first edition of Resource PNG for the new year. In tonight's episode, we talk to the Prime Minister about the Ok Tedi mine's ongoing court battle. Here is Anya Geno with this interview.
I have the honour of having with me in the studio the Honourable Peter O'Neill, Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea. Sir, welcome to the show again.
Thank you very much for having me on the show.
Prime Minister, the Ok Tedi battle has been taken to the Singaporean court. They're claiming that you've frozen PNG DSB's accounts. Is that correct?
Well, the matter is, as we all know, let me just give a bit of a brief background on this issue. When BHP left the Ok Tedi mine in Papua New Guinea close to over 10 years ago, because of the environmental damage that was done to the river systems in Western Province, especially the Fly River, the BHP company gifted that particular mine to the people of Papua New Guinea and the people of Western Province. So what the government has done is to basically rearrange how we hold the shares in Ok Tedi. We have decided that it is better for us to hold it directly rather than through a vehicle like PNG Sustainable. Now, PNG Sustainable is, of course, is a Singapore-based company. And as a result of that, they are now taking this matter to Singapore courts, but we have advised Singapore court that they have no jurisdiction in Papua New Guinea, meaning that we are only dealing with companies that are now operating in Papua New Guinea, not companies that are operating in Singapore. So as a matter of courtesy, we've advised them that they have no jurisdiction. And of course, on this issue of Ok Tedi, we've got the Eminent Persons Group, which is Serabi Namaliu, Bart Philemon, and Sepuka Temu, who are now trying to mediate and mediate the discussions where we all agree on a way forward. And those discussions are taking place, and I want to assure our people and our listeners and our viewers throughout the country that this has been very constructive. It is going to be concluded very soon, and we will resolve many of these issues. We do not necessarily have to go to court. The only people who win when we go to court are the lawyers because of the huge amounts of fees that we have to pay. So common sense must prevail. We must do it for our people and our people of Western Province. And Papua New Guinea government is willing to talk to anybody who is prepared to sit down and work this through in a very constructive manner. Without losing sight of the objective. The objective is whose interest are we working for? We want it to be worked for the people of our country, and that is what we think the government of Papua New Guinea is doing.
But if sustainable development are pursuing an international claim against you, how will the government handle this?
We don't see what basis they have to pursue the claim as such, because the sustainable program is also owned by PNG government. So whose interests are we going to pursue? So I think that these litigations are unnecessary. But as we speak, as I said, the Eminent Persons Group are now working constructively with the board and the management of Sustainable to try and work out a way forward, and we will resolve all these things. And there is no need for us to have too much concern. But the longer these disputes get dragged internationally, it only affects our country, the confidence the investors will have in our country. We have to try and make sure that we do not damage that reputation that we want to build for our country as the choice for investors to come and invest.
So the government's taking a mediation rather than a response to litigation course?
We are quite happy to face them in our courts here. We have got a very independent judiciary, so if anybody's got issues that concerns them on the sustainable or the Ok Tedi mining program, nobody's stopping them from going to courts in PNG. So we're quite happy to work with people who, as I said, who want to engage constructively.
With regard to Ok Tedi, how much shareholding will the provincial government be holding after the takeover?
Those discussions are going on with the provincial government, the landowners, the communities that have been affected by the mine. along the river system, that's the Fly River. So we're almost nearing conclusion of the discussions on the share structure of Oktedi. Of course, as I've always stated, the other 7.5 million people of Papua New Guinea also need to be, their interest needs to be protected. So it will be a mine that will be truly owned by Papua New Guineans and the people of Western Province.
Thank you, Prime Minister. On the Sovereign Wealth Fund, what is the current progress on this?
Of course, we have passed a law in Parliament already to establish the Sovereign Wealth Fund. Now, Treasury has got a responsibility of putting the structure around it so that it becomes operational. It has to be set in place before the first revenue for LNG project comes in, which is going to be in 2015. So we are looking forward for that structure. We've got international experts who are used to setting up structures like this, and we are modeling around some of the successful ones around the world, Singapore being one of them. Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund is another one. Those are very successful sovereign wealth funds that has been established, that has got good management structures, good governance structures, and very transparent. This is what our people want, and we are going to deliver that.
More of this interview after the break. Welcome back. Continuing our interview with the Prime Minister, we find out what sort of discussions transpired at the China-Pacific Forum attended recently. In this segment, we also hear what fiscal strategy the government will be taking to address the depreciating value of the kina.
Thank you, Prime Minister. On the China-Pacific Forum that you recently attended, what sorts of discussions did you hold with your Chinese counterpart?
We met the Vice Premier of China, Vice Premier Yang Wang, who is also hosted the conference. We all know that China is a global driver of global economy, and as one of the fastest growing nations and developing nations in the world, it is driving the global demand for growth that we are now experiencing in this part. Now, this century has been dubbed as the Asian century. Now, all the economies around Asia, China, India, Indonesia, they are growing at a very fast rate. Now, because of the huge population that they have, they've got a huge demand for resources that we have. So Papua New Guinea has got to take advantage of the trade opportunities that are there. We need to export our resources and get good prices out of this. We are now exporting minerals to them. We are now exporting gas to them. We are now exporting timber and fisheries resources to them. So China is a very important strategic trading partner for PNG. It will certainly become more and more important as the Chinese economy continues to grow. And PNG must take advantage of that. We just cannot isolate ourselves. Nobody in this world is going to feel sorry for us and say, listen, we feel sorry for Papua New Guinea, so we are going to come in and assist. Then there's nobody out there who is trying to do that. So Papua New Guinea must develop and take ownership of its own issues. And trade and investment is one of them. We have to grow the economy so that a lot of our people can find good jobs. We have to grow the economy so that we can be able to fund our free education and health programs that we have. We have to grow the economy so that we can have a skill base for our country, and it's continued. Now, our country's population growth is very fast. It's one of the highest in the region, in the world. So with that growing population, if we don't create opportunities for our people become frustrated. Right. They've got nothing to do, so they become frustrated. So we need to develop the business community, business industries, and China is one of the important drivers of that. And so the discussions with China is going very well, and our trade with them is increasing every year.
Now, Prime Minister, one of the reasons that the kina is depreciating is the trade deficit. What's the government's fiscal strategy?
Now, kina is depreciating because there's a huge demand for foreign currency at this time of the year. What has happened is that some of the Papua New Guinean-based companies are now investing in foreign investment around the world. And as a result of the demand that is placed on the foreign currency, the pressure of the currency outflow is there. And that is why the kina is depreciating. Not because the economy is not doing well or because there is a deficit that is happened, budget that has been put forward, but it is because of the demand on foreign currency that we have. But over the last few weeks, you can see that it has now stabilized because we have intervened, we've gone into the market, we've make sure that there's enough foreign currency available for people to continue to trade. So our economy is very sound. Sound in the sense that we've got very high foreign reserves. We've got, in fact, record foreign reserves that we've got down there. We've got very high liquidity within the financial structure and financial community. We have a very high level of foreign investment coming into the country. We have a growing economy, which is now an economy growing at an average of 6 to 8% per annum. So all this gives rise to a very strong, sound economic platform where the country is now experiencing. So all in all, I think the currency issues are such that it'll stabilize. And with currency and commodities like prices for oil, gold, and copper, some of these are beyond our control. It cannot be controlled by Papua New Guinea government. We are subject to supply and demand. And as a result of that, we are exposed to risks around the global. But our main aim is to manage it so that we minimize the effects that it will have on our people and especially on consumer goods prices, revenue from exports that we have. These are things that people get affected with the fluctuations in exchange rate. So all in all, it is sound and it's been managed well by the central bank.
Resource PNG continues when we return. You're watching Resource PNG. In this segment, Prime Minister O'Neill tells us what arrangements the government is making with Nautilus.
Now, on Nautilus Minerals and deep sea mining, what arrangements is the government making with Nautilus following the arbitration in Sydney?
Well, we have had discussions with Nautilus because we have issues with the arbitration decision. The arbitration, you need two parties to agree to go into arbitration. The state has never agreed for that. One employee of the state made that decision by himself. There's no NEC decision. There's no approval from the government that we have a dispute, so you go into arbitration. So we are now reviewing that decision that was made by the tribunal in Australia. We feel that that is a biased decision. We feel that we can discuss direct discussions with Nautilus so that we can overcome some of the difficulties we have. Now for PNG, for us to have an exposure into almost 100 million kina, it's a big exposure for our economy. We cannot invest in a high-risk investment on behalf of the people with that kind of money. So we need to be very careful on what sort of decisions we make. So the responsible thing to do is to have a constructive discussion with Nautilus. Nautilus have come and seen me, and I've started the discussion. Our officials are talking to them. Our aim is to reduce our participation in that particular project. That project is unproven. It has never been done anywhere else in the world. So whilst we have issues on environment, whilst we have issues on its capacity to deliver, the equipment that has been used, the ships that has been used, those are technical issues that we need to resolve, and our government officials are working on it.
What about the 118 million kina that have been awarded?
We are saying that, listen, as I said, we did not agree to go into arbitration. So there are legal issues around it, and our lawyers are having a good look at it, because we feel that we don't necessarily liable for such damage when there are outstanding questions that need to be resolved. The government is not prepared to pay for it yet until we have a constructive dialogue with the Nautilus.
Thank you, sir. Now, on creating a special economic zone with PNG and Australia, what kind of a framework would have to be set up for that?
The arrangements between Australia and PNG have been managed through bilateral agreements that we have between the two countries. And trade and investment and economic affairs between the two countries are important because Australia is our biggest trading partner, where we have to manage that relationship very carefully. And our arrangements with them is that every year we have a ministerial forum which takes place and reviews the arrangements that we have in place. So it's an ongoing review. And I think there are opportunities like the one that the Australian government is trying to create a special economic zone up in the Northern Territory. Mm-hmm. And we are only 4 or 5 kilometers away from the border area in that special economic zone. And we feel that we've got a capacity to deliver for Australia's development of their economic zone. That includes power generation. If Australia and Papua New Guinea can jointly develop Purari, that has got a capacity to deliver more than 10,000 megawatts of power, which can go into their smelters up in the Northern Territory, mm-hmm. and of course build the other industries around the special economic zone. So we are having ongoing discussions, and some of the Australian companies who are interested in developing that project are already doing some technical work around this kind of projects that will be of great benefit to not only Australia but to Papua New Guinea as well.
Okay. So do you think that our trade partnership or relationship with China might affect that at all, or is that completely different?
They're two completely different relationships that we have. China has also got an economic relationship with Australia. We have to realize in Papua New Guinea that Australia is going to be a competitor for the Chinese markets. They also export minerals like iron ore and copper and gold. We do the same. So we have to compete in that market space. And I think the things that we import from Australia, like rice and all the other consumer things, will continue to go because the consumer market here is already used to the Australian products, and it'll take some time for them to adjust to other imports from Asia and many other markets throughout the world. So I think the relationship and trade arrangements between Australia.
We come back. Thanks for staying with us. We now discuss with the Prime Minister the new requirements for foreign investments in PNG and how this government initiative aims to increase local participation in PNG's SME sector.
Prime Minister, there seems to be new requirements for foreign ownership in businesses here. Do you think that might be a negative thing?
I think the ownership issue is slightly misplaced. We are talking about ownership of small businesses to medium-sized businesses, where Papua New Guineans can participate meaningfully. We have a growing population, a very youthful population, young men and women, who have to be given an opportunity to participate meaningfully in small to medium-sized businesses. This is things that Papua New Guineans can do. The big companies that are coming here with billions of dollars to try and invest in big industries, Papua New Guineans don't have that kind of money. We understand that. We don't have the capital, we don't have the management skills, so we will continue to require foreign investors to come in and invest in our country. So the drive to try and lift the participation of our people in the small to medium enterprises is must not be seen as something that is trying to displace foreign investment in the country. It must be seen as a drive by government to try and bring our people out of poverty, out of poor living conditions that our people are now enduring, so that they can have an opportunity to improve their standard of living. And that can be done through creating of employment opportunities, creating of opportunities in business and in enterprises that they are able to participate. And that is what we're trying to do as government.
Now, Minister Maru has also pushed for an increase in local manufacturing.
Yes.
Given the high cost of manufacturing here, do you think that might be a deterrent?
I think there are some specific industries, like in agriculture, that we can do it cheaply. Processing of frozen goods, processing of tin and canned manufacturing, produce in agricultural sector. Of course, manufacturing fisheries. We have the raw materials already here, and our aim is to try and encourage foreign direct investment in those areas, so they can create manufacturing base here. Now, manufacturing also is encouraged because it also gives us a huge employment opportunity for our people, and I think he is on the right track. Of course, there are some high-tech industries that we are not capable of delivering. We understand that, but we must focus on industries that we have strengths in, and that is where we have resources that we can be able to translate into manufactured produce and products that we can export.
What's the government doing to try and help reduce these costs?
Government is now, of course, providing cheaper capital now. We are investing directly into agriculture. We are investing directly into small to medium enterprises. And of course, we are trying to create incentives, tax incentives for some of the manufacturing industries, tax incentive for pioneering industries, so that our investors can come in here and establish those industries. So the government is very active out there, working with the investors, trying to make sure that we lift the economic activity in the country.
Right. Now, the concerns raised by businesses continue to be the same. It's the same every year: law and order, the cost of doing business, corruption, poor infrastructure. What's the government's short to medium term plan to overcome this?
I think credit must be given where it is due. I think this government, for the first time in many, many years, is now addressing the issues of law and order. We are increasing more and more policemen and women on the ground. Issue of corruption, we have now established a task force. We've gone through establishing an independent commission against corruption that is now gone through first reading in Parliament. No other government has ever done that. We are now signing up to initiatives like the extractive initiative, initiatives that extractive industries are going to participate for their transparency. Now, those are things that will establish credibility of government and credibility of the country in the international investor community. So all in all, I think the government is very focused in delivering that. We are focused on delivering the infrastructure. So Papua New Guineans have got to be very careful, that we do not talk ourselves down too much. We must try and make sure that we talk about the positive things that we are doing. When we focus on negative things and negativity, you're always going to put yourself and drag yourself down, and the mindset is such that you are not forward-looking. So I think as a government, we are now focused on trying to lift this country up and build the economy up, make sure that our people participate in it, make sure our people have an opportunity to get good employment. They also improve their standard of living, become healthier, and live longer and enjoy life and enjoy all the other benefits of being a very good citizens in a blessed country. So I think the government is addressing many of the issues you are saying. You can see the difference. There is positive mood out there in the country. I travel the country all around Papua New Guinea, and I see the enthusiasm in people's eyes. I see the eagerness that our people want to participate and take ownership of their own lives and be a citizen that is meaningfully contributing to nation building. And if we continue to encourage this, I can tell you that in 5 to 10 years, Papua New Guinea will be a great, great country. And I look forward to it. This country is going to change in our lifetime. We don't have to wait 100 years. In our lifetime, we can make a big difference.
Thank you for your time today, Prime Minister.
Thank you.
Resource PNG continues after the break. Welcome back to Resource PNG. Due to several viewers' requests, we are showcasing the Prime Minister's presentation from the Mining and Petroleum Conference held in Port Moresby in December.
Both the petroleum and mining seminars are being held at a very important time for both sectors in our country. While I will focus my comments on the oil and gas sectors, some of my comments will equally be applicable to the mining sector and other resource development as a whole. I also note that the theme of this seminar is transforming the economy, the gas era. It is very much right on the mark because the gas era does offer a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to transform Papua New Guinea and its economy and the lives of our people. What I want to stress and focus on today is very simple. The transformation must deliver the maximum benefits for Papua New Guinea and our 7.5 billion people. And I do not just mean economic benefits. It must deliver significant, widely shared social and community benefits as well. That is what I really want to talk to you about today. But before I do, let me give you a quick overview of how I see where we're heading. Last month, our 2014 national budget was passed by our national parliament with an overwhelming majority. It is a budget of our times. It meets today's needs and it makes provision for tomorrow. It is a deficit budget because that is what is needed today. And that is what is needed so that we can secure our medium to long-term future in the way that is fair and widely shared. The petroleum and gas sector is effectively underwriting the deficit and the moderate rise in the state's debt levels as we see it. You are going to receive presentations on progress of our first LNG project. It will begin LNG export within a year from now. That will mean that in 2015, our GDP will probably be the highest in the region, if not the world, well over 20%. That will begin substantial royalty and other income flows to the government and benefits to the landowners. And the state will, over the medium term, also benefit from dividends. The certainty of that enables us to have a modest deficit next year to meet the realities of today and tomorrow. Let me simply say that the construction sector growth has begun to slow down from a very high levels we've experienced. The construction phase of the LNG project is heading towards completion, and that is having an impact, and it is going to have a much bigger impact in 2014. The fall of the key commodity prices, such as gold, has meant a deferral of work on a number of planned new mines, or at least slowing down in the construction work on other projects. I don't really want to roll out the statistics today, but there is one from our budget papers that really stands out. This year, the construction sector growth will be a respectable 11.9%. But next year, let me remind you, that is about 4 weeks away, it is projected to be negative for 6.4%. The government is now trying to help our construction sector. That will mean that we want to help maintain jobs by continuing to boost our own investment spending in the infrastructure in 2014. The spending will be on roads, ports, electricity, creating our 4 economic hubs to prepare ourselves for a stronger and a broader economic growth in the future. Without a modest deficit, we could not do that while maintaining the improvement in the quality of live service delivery areas we are committed to, in areas such as the health sector, our school education, and law and order. We believe that the budget, an expansionary budget, is the right budget for our times, and that paves way for us to build in an even stronger economy for the future. There is one troubling aspect of our economy you might not see unless you move beyond Port Moresby and our major resource centers. Around 80% of our people are farmers, very much subsistence farmers or growers of our major exports such as coffee, copra, cocoa, and palm oil. And almost without exception, they are also enduring tough times because of the low world commodity prices. That is why the non-mining GDP next year is projected to be just 1.6%, a third of what is going to be this year. The government again has to help our rural majority getting through these tough times. Fortunately, the revenue inflows from construction and mining in recent years and the projected LNG revenues has enabled government to provide free education for all children, free basic health care for all our people. But we have no alternative but to support our farmers as well, our rural sectors in these tough times. The budget has begun that process, and it steps up to our commitment to small to medium enterprise growth right across the nation. Let me summarize briefly where we are today. The budget is sound, it is forward-looking, it helps address some of our immediate needs, and it prepares us for a very strong growth in the future. And I believe a genuine and wider sharing in that growth among our people and our communities is best for the future. And that heads up to a very conducive climate for our business community, future and current investors. That brings me to my central point today, and how we can make the theme of this seminar, transforming the economy and the gas era into reality. The national government, as many of you know, is a direct shareholder to the PNG LNG project, which we hold on behalf of our people and our landowners. Each development has not been without challenges, but the project is rapidly heading towards completion, and overall it has been a success story, a significant contributor to the economic growth, to training and job creation for our people, and providing direct and indirect benefits to our landowners. It has also demonstrated to the investment community and to the world that Papua New Guinea can deliver a world-class project with a strong commitment from the government and the landowners and the other stakeholders. My thoughts and those of our ministers must now turn to the next phase of our petroleum sector development. And I am delighted that this seminar has the same focus. It is timely that we focus on the next phase, and even beyond the gas for LNG conversion and export. That is not to rule out or many more new LNG projects, but I read the reports on trend in the global gas sector, and they tell me that LNG exporting is going to be more challenging in the future than it is already. The message that I take from that is not to give up on future LNG plants, but to move into partnerships with gas sector tenement holders, potential investors, to diversify and to maximize to the greatest extent possible the economic and social benefits that will flow from future projects.
We'll continue with that presentation when we return. Welcome back. We continue the presentation delivered by Prime Minister O'Neill at the recent Mining and Petroleum Conference.
The government, as many of you know, is in the process of setting up a separate company to manage our equity and participation in the resource sector. A Kumul Petroleum with a separate company for Kumul Minerals are going to manage our equity in the resource sectors. This is designed to separate our investments so that it is not confused or conflicted. We do not want to become passive investors in these projects. We hold equity on behalf of the nation. We want to be proactive and constructive and participant in the companies and projects. That is why we have charged Kumul Petroleum and Kumul Minerals in doing that. The government will actively participate in new projects. And I guess that is not nationalism. It is just common sense. It is what our laws provide for and what our people expect. The government must stop being a passive participant. It has to use its position on the boards of companies to bring projects online sooner rather than later. And doing so that is consistent with our policies so that we deliver the best outcomes for all the stakeholders, including shareholders, the government, and the landowners. I want investors to see that government's participation as a benefit, as a security, and a significant strength to the project. That all means that our directors and representatives on many of these companies must be more professional, more competent, and that will be a good thing for every one of us. Let me briefly outline a few of the priority areas for the next and future phase of our petroleum sector development. We must maximize our diversification. As I said, we cannot rely on LNG alone. Although it is important and valuable, we must ensure that the next phase of our sector includes developing stranded gas developments that can meet our domestic power and energy needs, industry development in our regions, and especially in our less developed regions. The industry and the government must work together to attract significant investment in downstream processing industries, high energy using industries, so that we can expand our industrial base, create more employment, and boost exports. In addition to these priority areas, our government will be looking favorably at investors who are prepared to contribute directly and significantly to communities and where the resources are located in areas such as schools, health centers, sporting fields, and community services. In future, it is fair that I give full notice of this, that the government will be looking even more favorably at projects that genuinely value add and contribute significantly to developing local communities long term, not just during the construction period. That means we want long-term residential and commercial centers and communities to be developed. We have been very generous in allowing fly-in, fly-out arrangements. But as a maturing economy, we need to manage that area very carefully in the future. We need to ensure that the petroleum sector development genuinely contributes to the regional development and the growth centers that is attracting a large population of our country. Before I conclude, let me make a few remarks about our investment climate. But I want to really stress 2 points. The first is that the next phase of the gas development must contribute significantly to our government's commitment to delivering our cities, towns, and villages affordable electricity, and affordable electricity that can particularly be delivered to villages in many parts of the nation as soon as possible. I also believe that affordable and reliable access to electricity needs to be the next benchmark when it comes to improving living standards for our people, no matter where they live. And affordable and reliable electricity and energy generally is essential requirement for the commitment to grow our small to medium enterprises and to be delivered to many cities and communities right across the country. In the medium term, that can be provided by new power generation plants located in areas close to the gas fields, delivered to communities by modern transmission, means that may need to be provided by partnership between the gas resource developers and our own electricity authorities and other private sector service providers. Of course, the government is not expecting gas resource proponents to meet the cost of delivery of electricity, but we will be expecting domestic gas reservations and conversions to electricity to be a part of new proposals put to us for consideration. In the budget speech by our Minister for Treasury, he signaled out the development of a public-private partnership. We will be doing this very carefully. We will have to learn from the mistakes of the past and mistakes of others. But I would envisage electricity generation and downstream processing to value add our gas development being early contenders for the PPP arrangements. The second point concerns downstream processing and value adding. I think it's important that all stakeholders in the petroleum sector and companies interested in getting into gas development to work with national government to explore every possible avenue to value add to the development of our high quality and vast national gas resource. We did not require a value-adding component in the development when we approved the PNG LNG project. This is a pioneering project with a very high construction cost. And we were persuaded that every stakeholder, including government, would be best served by initial focus on high-volume LNG production for export. For future projects, I want to see a significant downstream processing and value adding, producing things like fertilizer and other byproducts to meet our domestic needs and provide new export opportunities, and also providing long-term training and employment for our people. As you are already aware, there is a comprehensive review of our tax regime is now underway. It is not about high taxes, but it is about a modern, relevant tax regime that will keep Papua New Guinea competitive in an increasingly competitive world. I hope that the review will also make recommendations on incentives we might offer to encourage downstream processing. We are open to proposals from current and potential investors on the immediate steps we might be able to take, not just to encourage exploration and production, but again, also to value add. So, ladies and gentlemen, that brings me to my concluding remarks. I will be very brief, but I hope this is an important message that I want to leave with you today. Papua New Guinea is a very sound country in which to invest and do business with. Our country has missed many opportunities in the past. Recently, I was reminded by an old friend of Papua New Guinea, a very keen observer of our economy, that for many years, Papua New Guinea has missed many opportunities for us to develop our nation, and that began with the first export of our first oil in the 1990s. The second opportunity that we missed came in the past 12 years, when we enjoyed record surpluses, but we failed to convert that into real tangible development for our people. Today, in this gas era, it is our third and probably our last opportunity to really making a real difference in our people's lives. We leaders must step up so that we can deliver a sustainable development program for our people and our nation. Our public finances are in very good shape. Our GDP will continue to be strong by any comparison. We will have a very competitive and fair tax regime for the future. And the national government is addressing the social needs of our people and the infrastructure needs of our economy. The investment climate, in my view, is as strong as ever and perhaps stronger than ever before. And we will have to continue to manage the challenges that we have ahead of us in a very responsible way. Challenges including the growing desire by our people for greater participation in a growing economy. After almost 40 years of independence and nationhood, that is not unexpected. It is not unreasonable. We must help facilitate greater involvement of Papua New Guineans in small to medium enterprises through our 12-point plan, aspects of which are also captured in the budget. And while retailing and hospitality and tourism, commerce are target areas for that participation, we must also lift up participation of our national entrepreneurs and businesses in the resource sector. I hope we are closely to the day when PNG investors can invest significantly in companies developing our petroleum and mineral resources. If that happens, then the public confidence in our overseas investment will continue to grow. In conclusion, can I again thank you for showing the interest and the confidence in Papua New Guinea. And I can assure you that your confidence and interest is well placed. And again, let me assure you that we as a country, we will not mismanage this opportunity, the gas era that provides to our nation. Thank you.
That ends this edition of Resource PNG. If you have any comments or queries, do email us on this address, resourcepng@mtv.com.pg. Or to find out more, check MTV online. That's www.mtv.com.pg, and go to our Resource PNG page. Or you can check our page on Facebook. Thanks for your company. Bye for now.